This video will be a quick introduction and an overview of the Individual Disabilities Education Act, which is a federal policy put into play in order to support students with disabilities. This starts with the understanding that there will be free, appropriate public education for any student with a disability, and that schools are not allowed to reject students that have a disability, and that they are also going to be put into a position to work in their least restrictive environment. So if that means that they can be in a mainstream classroom, that they will be, but if they need to be pulled out, they can based off of the evaluations that they are given. But this all starts by a referral from either a parent, a guardian, or a teacher, staff member at the school. So anybody that sees that there's a severe limitation in the student's ability to have academic success can refer the student for an evaluation process to see if they are eligible for special education. And this evaluation process starts by sending the student to a school psychologist. And the school psychologist will do different assessments to see if the student will actually be eligible for special education by falling under the 13 disabilities that are listed under the IDEA Act. Once the student is determined to be eligible, then they are actually assigned to an IEP meeting, which is an individual education plan. And this meeting consists of various members that are known as an IEP team, usually consisting of the principal and the teacher, general education teacher, the special education teacher, maybe a behavior specialist or a speech specialist, depending on the different disabilities that the student has. The special education teacher is actually generally responsible for organizing these and getting these members together, and the parent will also be a part of this. IEPs consist of listing the different limitations that the student has based off of their past academic performance, and also the projected functionality of that student in the context of their curriculum standards. And then there will also be a list of the services that the student may require. This might be tools that they need, or extra help outside, or resource teachers inside of the classroom. But also a list of the timeline in which the student will be given these resources, and how much time per week or per day that student will actually receive these services. And along with the IEP will also be a detailed list of when assessments will be made to figure out how the student is progressing towards their goals. The IEP will also list specific goals that the staff would like to see, and the strategies that will be used, implemented to get that student to achieve those goals. So the assessments can either be listed to happen once a week, they can happen every 4 weeks, but that's part of the IEP. And then the IEP will be reevaluated every year to see if those services and goals still apply to the next year. Every 3 years, the actual disability will be reevaluated by the school psychologist to see if that student still is eligible for special education. Some of the expectations for teachers and the school and the admin is that there's actually a whole lot of collaboration going on between all the individuals involved. So the special education teacher, general education teacher, the school psychologist, and the parent or guardian are actually constantly collaborating about how the student is doing. And it's also very important that that information stay private. So that's part of their ethical responsibility as a teacher, but also it helps to maintain a better understanding of how those assessments are going for the student. It also is a part of the process to maintain a constant communication, especially between special education and general education teachers. Sometimes they're communicating every day. If they're a resource teacher coming in and helping a student, they need to figure out what they can and cannot do to be supportive that day. If it's a special education teacher in an isolated classroom that is referring a teacher or a student to a general education teacher, there needs to be constant communication back and forth about how that student's performance is doing, if they're improving, if it's becoming an issue, and what sort of resources are available to help them. And as mentioned before, all the teachers in any school are supposed to be upholding a ethical code of conduct, to remain professional, to respect the opinion of the parent who is dealing with their child on a day-to-day basis and the needs and wants that they have for their student, but also for the other specialists and other teachers that are involved in this IEP process. So it takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of open communication about how the student's performance is doing. But overall, these IEPs are, as they say in the first word, they're individualized. Every plan is different, and how this communication is happening is going to be up to the teachers, the parents, and the students involved. Another aspect that isn't necessarily listed on our bullet points here in our agenda for this video is just that students are expected to have a transitional plan into outside of primary school. So once they become 16, the students actually get to be involved in how this transition plan is going to take place. So the IEPs are not just for academics, they're for social behavior, and how the student is going to take these goals into their daily life outside of school.